Yeah, looking forward to it. It's going to be a tough test. You know, they showed last night that they have obviously strength in depth. They played three at the back last night, so they have the flexibility of formation, and they're a really good team. We know that they're an established Premier League team, so they'll be a very tough opponent, but we're in good form ourselves. We're at home, and I'm looking forward to a high-quality encounter.
You didn't get a chance to go and watch last night?
No, we watched enough. We watched the tapes of the games. I was watching last night the game against Aberdeen. You have to watch different things and what's relevant to you. They made 4 or 5 changes last night. I'm sure those boys will come back in for the weekend. And it's a big game for them as well, I'm sure, in terms of silverware. So we'll recognise the test. Big challenge on Saturday, but as I say, we're at home and we're in good form.
You expect them to come at you?
I expect a really good game. I think they'll give it a go, for want of a more technical expression. I think they get men forward, they move the ball quickly, they have wide players playing on opposite flanks, their foot, they drive inside, and they have experience, and they're a good team. But as I say, you know, we've delivered a level of performance recently. We're in good shape. We deserve to be where we are in the league, and we're looking forward to it.
Does that in some way help you if they come at you, give you space to perhaps exploit that big thing you perhaps might look at?
Whatever they do, we look forward to it. You have to look forward to enjoy the game, recognise and respect them, but look forward to it. And whether they try and press us up high, whether they drop off, whether they play 3 at the back or 4 at the back, whether they go 4-5-1 or 4-4-1, whatever they play, it's a challenge for us, and we'll be better for the experience, I'm sure.
What do you make of Kane Hemmings and the season he's having?
He's scoring goals, you know, but again, different league. My corner 28 goals, and I'm looking at what we're doing, and we lose a player. And boys step in the breach. Harry Forrester, 2 goals in the last 2 games, good goals as well. So we've got players who are stepping up. He's a good player. Again, same comments, respect him, but our centre-halves are good as well.
Kane's obviously having a great season. I think it's 15 or 16 goals he's got this season. He was obviously here a number of years ago. Were you surprised at somebody like him who's like...
I wasn't here. I couldn't possibly comment on a player that, you know, long before my time.
Paul Hartley said, you know, the changes last night were very much with a view to Saturday's game. Does that show how seriously they're taking the threat from Rangers?
I'm looking at it. I think they want to win silverware. They're a very well-established Premier League club, and it's I'm not sure when the last time they won a Scottish Cup, but I think it's a big chance then to go and get silverware this season. So I'd imagine they'll be as strong as they can on Saturday, which is great. We want that. We want to see where they are, want to see where we are, and we'll look forward to it. I think it'll be a really good game.
Who are favourites going into this one?
Who
are favourites going into this one?
They're a Premier League side. We're Rangers at home, so you call that one.
Is this your biggest game?
Biggest game? No, it's not the biggest game. It's not the biggest. I don't mean that in any disrespect at all. It's not the biggest game. You know, we played a Petrofac. That was the biggest game. Then your first artificial surface was the biggest game. Allo away, and all these various games in between. So they're all big games, and the players are showing a really good level of consistency. They prepare well. Their attitude's first class. Their work ethic, their commitment is outstanding. So it's another good game. And likewise, next Friday will be another good game for us.
There haven't been many games at Ibrox this season, Mark, where you've not had a lot of the ball. Is that something that you've maybe perhaps prepared for this week? In the fact that Dundee might pose a kind of different challenge to what you faced this season?
If they get on the ball and they try and dominate football, that's a great challenge for us. Our job is to get the ball back and keep it in play, and that's what we do. If the team, as I say, if they press high and try and stop us playing, our job is to get on the ball. Dominate football, be brave, get on it, don't worry about a mistake, play. And if we do that, we've got a number of good players. They've shown their quality time and time again. So it's another challenge again. As I say, I don't want to repeat myself, but they are a good team. They are a good team with some good players, but so are we. So I think it'd be a close game. I think it'd be a good quality game, and hopefully exciting one.
What have you learned from the St Johnstone and Kilmarnock cup ties?
I just learnt that the gap from the top of the Championship to the Premiership is, in my mind, very, very small, if any. That's my honest belief. I don't see a gap, you know, simply because of the financial disparity down south. You have this huge climate where money dominates. It's not the same in Scotland. So I don't see the gap. And I think Kilmarnock and games that Hibs have played and Falkirk and various other teams have confirmed that that gap, if any, is very narrow.
Is that a sort of a monkey off your back sort of thing going into this one, having already beat Premiership?
I didn't honestly feel any monkey on my back. I don't know if there was one there, but I didn't feel that. Not, you know, just in the point of view that we played St Johnstone that night. We made a couple of mistakes and got punished for it. You know, the stats were still very good and everything else, but on that occasion we got punished and didn't punish them. If you think back to the game, we missed a header, we missed a 6-yard out, and had they gone in, the game changes completely. And that's the random nature of the game. But didn't learn a great deal from that. Kilmarnock, we played well at home, should have got the job done. Learned from it, went to Rugby Park and delivered a good performance. So every game we play, we're learning. Don't forget the squad's 7.5 months old. So we've bred in a lot of players. I've done all credit to them, and we're still learning.
How do you feel, Mark, at this stage in March, the squad is dealing with the mental energy of going for a title, and you've got obviously 2 cup competitions? Is that something that you're having to manage? Because there'll be a lot of the players in your squad, especially the ones you brought in last summer, who maybe haven't had a title race to deal with before, and haven't had to deal with, I suppose, the mental energy of going for something in terms of silverware with Rangers.
I don't think it's a mental energy. I think I look at it really basic and say, if you're a player, would you rather be involved in a promotion, in a fight for the title, or relegation scrap? If you're at the bottom of the league and you're worried about your pay being cut by 50% if you go down, and you've got a mortgage to pay and family, etc., then I see the mental energy. But right now, if you're a player and you're fighting for a trophy or 2 trophies and at the top of the league, what a great place to be. That's why you do. That's why you play football. So I think the mental energy, not at all. I think they're looking forward to every single game. I don't see that. I think it's, you read the media about at the end of the stage of the season and wear and tear and you're tired. No, they're not. They want to play games. They're footballers. So I think if you tell them they're tired, they will be tired. If you tell them they're looking fantastically fit and raring to go, they will be. We're in great shape, touch wood, and you look forward to the game. So we're in a good place. And I think bottom of the table, that's when you have the mental energy.
I suppose the reason I ask you that is because in your instance, you've got a team Hibs that's fighting on 3 fronts, and there's a theory that they've suddenly just hit a wall at this point. And then you look at what's going on in the Premier League in England, and the 3 teams that are chasing Leicester are all competing in European competition, cup competition. And Pellegrini made the point last night that his players are not able to recover from the fact that they're playing a game every 3.5, 4 days. Do you buy into that at all?
Yeah, I don't buy into that, Dan. I said myself, I think Leicester are favourites because of the fact that their loading is so much less in terms of the European commitments. I think they're playing half the games of some of the other teams. So that's a really important factor. Leicester's true challenge would be what happens next year if they're in Europe. I'm sure they'd agree with that. But from that point of view, the players last year were playing Tuesday, Saturday right the way through. So the schedule up north is not that demanding. You get the right rest and recovery. It allows you to train in the training park. If we do have a few midweek games, then great, because it's a great place to be for a player. And pro players want to play football. They work hard, and we're in a good place right now. So I think if we can get the load in right here in terms of between games, that's the key issue for us. The games as they come, they're fine.
Can I ask you, I appreciate you might have touched on this in the last couple of weeks. Again, more stories about the possibility that Scotland might lose its Champions League place. How much of a concern is that for you when you're potentially trying to recruit over the next year to 18 months, and players want to come to Rangers and to Celtic for the lure of Champions League football?
No, I think it is a concern. I think people have to look at the bigger picture and the implications of such a move. And I think everything has to be done possible to try and fight it and get more information about it. It is worrying that we haven't had more information come out to refute certain claims, but I think it's something that would be very, very damaging to the Scottish game, I'm sure, and many other similar countries as well.
Do you think? Can you ever see it at a time when this European Super League idea comes to pass? I mean, is that the way it's going with the money? I'm
not sure. I think there's many far more intelligent people than I am, but I think the money dominates. The financial situation dominates, and there's some very big wallets, very big companies involved in it. So I think that's the fear. That's the fear. And I'm looking at European competition. I'm seeing some household names not involved in the major European competition, and that will be a problem, I'm sure, to conglomerates and sponsors and whoever else. So I think it's an issue. We have to be aware of it, but there's a lot of debate, and I think it's a worrying situation.
Just going back to Dundee, what have you made of what some of the Dundee players have had to say in the lead up to this game? Gary Harkins, for example.
I'm not going to look at an individual player's comments. As I say, if one of my players made a comment or anything, I'd look at that, but I'm never going to listen to other people's comments.
Mark, going back to the title race aspect of it, you've also done a favour on Tuesday night by Andy Murdoch, Queens. You've got a number of other young boys out, some other teams in the Championship that will be due to play Hibs in the coming days. Do you think their eagerness to sort of impress you might also help in that regard when they're coming up against Hibs, and they're determined to go out and put on a show and help you in the title race aspect?
No, I don't think any young player on loan is always giving 100% in anything that he does, whoever he's playing. The idea of that is to send the players out to as high a level of play as possible and let them develop. They're not going to develop in meaningless games. So games that mean something like that. So delighted for Andy. And the other players, Ryan Hardy, went out and scored at the weekend as well. So young players are going out and they're learning. It's about games that really mean something. You can never replicate 3 points on Saturday afternoon with any friendly game, irrespective of who you're playing. So it's really important for development. Great that Andy scored for him, pleased for him, but I'd expect them to give 100% every time they play.
You don't think that's an extra motivation, the fact that they can perhaps give you?
No, I don't think so. I think as a player you have to go out and be the best you can be, and if you're not, then you shouldn't be there.
There's an international break coming up. Are you hoping to get that game postponed that weekend?
Not hoping to get a game postponed. No, we're not hoping for that. We just have to look at the situation. We've tried to gain as much information as possible. We're very conscious that supporters book hotels, flights, ferries, everything else, and the expense involved with that. All we can do is try and get the information about what players will be called up. But that's out of our control. We can just keep asking day in, day out, and hopefully when we get the information, it doesn't cause too much dissatisfaction, but we just won't know yet.
Yeah, so we've got to wait until the squad's announced.
We have to wait, yeah, and we haven't got, you can see yourselves, we haven't got a big enough squad to lose 3 players. You know, young Liam Burke came on Tuesday night because he deserved to be there. He'll be involved on Saturday, and 2 more young players will be on the bench on Saturday, so real young players. So again, it shows you we can't afford to lose 3 players. So if that is the case, then we'll have to respond accordingly.
Liam looked fairly settled when he came on. I don't look like he was too overawed by the experience.
Not at all. Fearless. He's a young player, done exceptionally well here, and done really well internationally for the 17s and 19s. Just signed a new contract with us, and he's got a really bright future. He's a good talent.
Ryan, obviously, his loan deal thing's coming up soon with Rafe. He's only been there a few weeks. Is there any suggestion that he might have his time there extended?
He'll stay there to the end of the season, Ryan, because he needs to go and play games. You can sit there and say there's kudos to sit on the Rangers bench. There's no development sitting on our bench. You need time on the park to develop as a young player. So we want to challenge the young players. So I'd rather bring another young one up below Ryan to come and sit on the bench and let Ryan go out and be the best he can be.
Obviously, we've lost Martin for a few weeks. Is that a risk at all? Just to get a few more years losing a kid?
Not at all. Ryan Hardy isn't ready yet to impact on a regular basis. Of course, he's a good player, but he needs to go and develop. And he'll do that at Raith, and he'll be well managed by Ray, etc. So they'll look after him. But right now we've got to look at his long-term development.
Is Martin still due back April, possibly? Or
I hope so. Martin being Martin, he's in the gym every day doing what he has to do. He'll come back sooner rather than later. But it's about just making sure he's right. So I imagine it'll be a few more weeks yet.
Ins and outs for the weekend.
Touch wood, everyone's fit. All trained this morning, and obviously got the 2 boys that are cup tied. So that's the obvious thing to note.
Gideon wasn't in the team sheet.
He took a knock, so hopefully he's okay. We'll see how he progresses.